All right, so what we're going to talk about today is creating a successful identity, right? In your fitness journey, in your health journey, and with your identity, with you growing up and from the time you were born, people have told you, you have been taught to obey others, sit down, follow rules, memorize facts, speak when spoken to, right? As the world moves faster, it's a struggle to keep up with the light speed technology driven era that we're in right now. So to survive, we constantly accept letting others decide what's best for us. We constantly seek outward for validation. We seek outward for approval for whatever it is we're doing in life. Is this okay for me to do? Or you're asking people for approval for the goals that you have set for yourself, right? So over time, that becomes your identity, right? People's opinion, other people's, idea of you, their casting judgment. You start to soak that in, and eventually you wear that as your identity. Now, I had a good mentor tell me one time, don't base your identity, don't base your self-worth off of your abilities or achievements. So what I mean by that is, when you get your dream job or when you get a nice vehicle that you've saved up a lot of money for, right? And then once you acquire that, then you're like, okay, now I'm successful or now I'm happy. That's meaning don't base your identity off of your abilities or achievement. Don't base your identity of being a healthy person off of whether or not you lost weight or not, right? Or whether you're successful in health if you lost weight this week or if you've seen weight loss on the scale, right? So then what is it we should base our identity off of, or our worth? And that is our intentions. Our intentions of why we do what we do has energy towards it, and that will create your identity. This is a tweet I put out the other day, and it's very powerful. It goes, adopt the identity of a healthy person, and the correct habits will follow. Most of the time, we feel like once we get to where we want to be, then we will be the person that we're supposed to be. When in reality, you can tap into whoever it is you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now. You have the success in you already. You just have to tap into it, right? You're not going to be happy once you acquire it. You can be happy now as you start to acquire it or as you start to head towards that direction. Everybody with me? So we all have this internal thermostat. And what I mean by that is, like, however you feel or however you identify yourself as or your self-worth, that's what your that's your go-to. That's your bread and butter. So if you don't get your identity high enough, if you don't think highly of yourself, or if you just truly don't think you're successful, no matter what you achieve, no matter how much weight you lose, if you truly don't believe that you are a healthy person, no matter what you achieve in your fitness journey, you will eventually turn the air conditioners on and cool yourself back down to what you think you are worth. And that is why you see yourself losing 20 pounds and then you gain it all back, lose it again, gain it all back. All right. So again, scenario one, like I said, you lose 25 to 50 pounds, gain it all back, and repeat that over and over again. Because the identity of you, you believe truly that you are a unfit or a heavy woman or man who happened to lose weight or happens to just magically lose weight one time because you tried something, right? You believe you're a heavy person. You believe you're an unfit person. That's the identity that you are, claiming to. Because you identify as that heavy person, every time you achieve results, every time you see the weight scale go down, let's say 6 months goes by and you lose 30, 40 pounds and get to your goal weight, you'll turn the AC back on and cool it back down, gain the weight back, because you still don't identify as the person you should be, which is the fit person, right? So what if the truth was you flipped it? You believe you're a healthy, fit person who gained weight, right? If you identify as a healthy, fit person, if you identify as you are successful in your health and fitness journey, then you're going to go back to that because that's your default. You're going to figure it out. You're going to find a way to go back to your true identity, right? So that's scenario two. You lose the weight and you keep it off because that's who you identify as. All of like no matter what your goals are, you can acquire them and you can get to where you want to be. You're already that person. You're already the person that you want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You're already that person. You can tap into that person right now as we speak. So once you shift your identity, you no longer sabotage yourself. You no longer see the weight scale fluctuate from 20 to 40 pounds. Always, like eventually you want to see sustainable results. Eventually you don't want to be on the roller coaster of yo-yo dieting and seeing results and then not seeing results and shitting on yourself, sabotaging yourself, and gaining it all back. So once you shift your identity, you no longer sabotage yourself. Sabotage is a process of getting what we believe we are worth. So what do you believe you're worth? And until you believe that you're worthy enough, you'll no longer sabotage yourself. So the typical approach with someone in their health journey, fitness journey, or in life in general is you think that for years you work hard, you think one day you'll become something more, but you don't realize that you can, again, identify as your higher self right now at this very moment. You think that if I work very hard, if I save up all this money, if I buy this car, this house, marry this woman, paint the fence white, have a big front door, then I'll be successful, or I'll be the husband I always wanted to be. When you are already the person that you're looking to be, you can tap into that person right now. So like an example of statements that we've done is I'll be happy when I lose weight, right? Outcome driven. All right. I'll be okay when I get a house, right? I'll be okay when I get the house that I've been saving up for. I'll be confident when I ask the girl out. I'll be successful when I have X amount in my bank account, right? So again, what is your intentions of wanting not to lose the weight, not to get the house, not to ask the girl out, not to have the money in the bank account, but what is your intentions for wanting to be happy? What is your intentions for wanting to be okay? What is your intentions for wanting to be confident? If that's, who, again, going back to your intentions, going back to your identity, right? Because losing the weight isn't your identity. Getting the house isn't your identity. The person you're going to be once you ask the girl out isn't your identity. You don't identify as confident. Once you get this certain amount of money in your bank account, you're not identified as successful or rich. Like, it's your intentions. So identify with your intentions. What is your intentions for wanting success? What is your intentions for wanting to lose your weight? What is your intentions for wanting to reverse your whatever it is you want to reverse? You with me? All right, so if you want to improve, you have to be okay with being thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. That's Epictetus. So in other words, successful people are okay with looking dumb while they figure things out. All right. And again, we can bring identity into this, and shift it, right? It's successful people are okay with looking dumb while they figure things out. It's not dumb people are occasionally figuring things out successfully, right? Successful people are okay with looking dumb while they figure things out. And as long as you're okay with that, you're going to be successful. All right. Fun fact, I actually, when I first started my fitness journey, I used to do like intermittent fasting because I wanted to lose weight, and it worked well with my schedule. So if you're somebody who's like, what the hell is intermittent fasting, then obviously I can explain that more to you. But usually it's like you pick a window of when you eat, you pick a window of when you don't eat. But in the window of when you do eat, let's say that's 4 hours or 2 hours, 6 hours, whatever window you have for when you're eating, you would usually eat either your maintenance if you're wanting to maintain your weight, a surplus if you're wanting to gain weight, or a a deficit in calories if you're wanting to lose weight. You would still eat the correct amount of food, just in a shorter period of window or a specific time frame. Sometimes it works with people a lot better. It, alleviates blood sugar levels and so on and so forth. So another good question. Cardio before or after your workout? Good question, Devin. So it depends on your goals. So if you're trying to gain muscle, if your goal is to put on size, put on muscle, build any certain areas of your body, you're going to want to do your cardio typically after your weight training. But if your goal is to train for like a race, a sprint, if you're a runner and your goal is to just run for endurance, then obviously you'd probably put your cardio before your weight training, if you even have weight training in your program. If you're hanging around people that are average, they don't chase goals, they question why you're eating the way you're eating, they question why you are going to the gym after a long day at work, they're encouraging you to not get on these calls because it makes no sense. You'll become that. That'll become your identity, right? And then once you achieve something, or how many of us have went to a concert and we're hyped up, and in that moment we felt fired up, and then once we got home after a few days, it was kind of back to normal again, because your identity wasn't that person that you were at the concert, because you've been doing what you've been doing at home for as long as you have been. That's your identity. That's what you reside with. So again, changing your identity, understanding what your identity is. And you understand your identity by understanding your intentions, not your achievements, not your accomplishments. You don't tie your identity of being successful in health, a successful person, a person of, health. If you get to your goals, or if you lose weight, or if you get the muscles that you want, you're already that healthy person. You're already that successful person. You have to tap into that earlier so that you can get there faster. When there's stressful situations, right? All of us in here knows that we go through stressful situations. None of us are going to go another week, another month, another year, another 20 years without encountering another stressful situation. So knowing that it's going to be there, identifying that life is fucking stressful. There's divorce, there's job loss, there's death, right? As long as we identify that life is occasionally stressful, then we can prepare. And then once we're prepared, we're not knocked off. So it's just knowing that there are going to be stressful situations. So have whatever it is that helps you, right? Motorcycle rides, walks, journaling, listening to music. My intentions for starting my fitness journey was therapy. Like, I was bullied as a kid for being overweight, for being the color that I am, because I went to a certain school. So I turned to the weights, right? My intentions of weight training was therapy. What are your intentions of wanting to have a better mindset in a stressful situation? What is it you do in stressful situations? Right? So Monica says she asked herself, where is she at? And how does this obstacle fit into her journey? How has something, like she has something to look forward to, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, right? So having a milestone, having a direction, having a target. So once you have a target, you have a direction, right? And if you don't have a target, if you don't have a goal, if you're identifying with, I said this earlier, and I said I was going to bring it to the call, and it's funny because again, all of us are walking around with skin from people's opinions about us. And I asked, like, if when someone asks you for your ID, or an officer asks you for your license, you don't give them your sixth grade ID. You don't give them your middle school ID. So why is it we're identifying with the person that Sally made fun of in high school? Why is it we're identifying with somebody that, lost 20 pounds, and now I want to get back to that person I once was last year because I lost the 20 pounds and I was doing good, right? Identify as who you are by understanding your intentions. So again, you wouldn't pull that sixth grade ID out. That of course there's going to be those speed bumps, there's going to be those forks in the road that you go down, and they may not, it may not be something that you identify with. It may not be the intentions that you had initially and you just found out, or you just came to light that maybe this isn't the route I want to go down, maybe this isn't the approach I want to take with my health journey. Just understanding that there are going to be those roadblocks, it makes it much easier. Nobody's perfect. Persistent. All right. As long as you're persistent, as long as you're consistent, just like the little things. There was another tweet I said, it was instead of focusing on perfection and the big results in your fitness journey, right? Wanting that 30 pounds down, or wanting to be under 200, or wanting to be this certain dress size, right? Just focusing on the average mediocre wins, right? Like waking up on time, drinking half a gallon of water, eating one less muffin than you did yesterday. The small wins make up everything. Again, it's just diving into your intentions, tapping into your identity, and knowing your body. Knowing whether or not you're bored, knowing whether or not you're hungry. If you're truly hungry, if your body's truly starving and you feel hungry, then eat. All right. It's like if you're feeling hungry naturally, then eat. If you know it's boredom, right? Like some of you have said you're guilty of, then of course right? You have to add certain things, but that's just the way of life. Like if you're hungry, eat. You're not going to gain weight by eating on your hunger cues, eating intuitively. But sometimes intuitively, eating doesn't come until you figure out how to not eat when you're bored, not eat junk food when you're emotional, right? So that's why these calls are important.